pandemic in South Africa from increasing very fast. As you know, when the president first announced the first restrictions, we had about 61 cases. Today, we have more than 700. So it's very important for all of us as South Africans in all the spheres of life to take it upon ourselves to ensure that we stick to the lockdown. And the lockdown basically says that people must stay at home. And when you have to leave, it's because you are going to work for what is termed as essential services. And of course, the security services are part of that essential services. The health people, the people who deal with food are all part of the essential services, and it's all in the regulations. Those would be exceptions of people who are allowed to move. And the public will only be allowed to move when you go to buy food or essential things, or when you want to go to see a doctor, or when you want to go to a pharmacy. But generally, you have to stay at home. And so we have looked at various areas. We have looked at who are the essential services. As I've said, I've mentioned most of them. But also government departments, some will have core staff. Municipalities also, because people will need water, people will need certain basic services like removal of refuse and so on. But other than that, we also looked at how people are going to move from where they are to where they need to go and work, those who are providing essential services. So the regulations cover the issue of transport. All transport, whether it's air transport, road, rail, maritime, that will be covered. And the minister responsible will talk about it. We've also looked at what are the things that cannot be done, places that will be opened and places that will be closed. But it's all trying to encourage the lockdown so that we encourage social distance and therefore try and slow down the pandemic. So there is a whole list of areas that are going to be closed, particularly areas where people gather, whether they gather for food or whether they gather to drink, whether they gather to do whatever. Cinemas, you name it, it's all there. Because it's a lockdown, people must stay at home. And of course, it's going to be also which companies are going to open. And it's only those companies that are dealing with essential goods, like sanitizers, like food, like medical supplies, and all related issues, toilet paper, and so on. So basically, the law is that you stay at home. And the exceptions, if you look at them, are for survival, for food, because food you need to survive. The exceptions are for health, and pretty much that, and the security forces also supporting and making sure that the law is enforced, but the public is also protected. And there will be directions that will be issued by various ministers that will give some of the details. For an example, there will be directives issued by, I'm just giving one example, by the Minister of Justice around the issue of domestic violence and how it will be dealt with during this time and so on. So I just wanted to just paint a picture. The details will be given by the various colleagues. But we appeal, like the President did, that we, all of us, individually and collectively, try and adhere to the lockdown. Try and stay at home as much as it's possible. Only under exceptional circumstances should you want to leave. So I'll just end there so that our colleagues can then give the various details that have to be given under the regulations and enforcement, how it's going to be enforced. But basically, stay at home unless you are essential to our survival. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister.